Here are some of the top mistakes that people make if they're going through a divorce. Now, you can think of all kind of horror stories about what people have done or made huge mistakes during a divorce, but here's some of the more common ones we see. Number one, don't try to hide assets. If you look like you're hiding information from a judge or from a court or from the other side, it's going to come back to bite you. Be honest. I mean, there could be no better policy than honesty, right? And you may think, well, this may hurt me. It'll hurt you more if you lie and it's found out. Don't be dishonest in your case. Number two, don't lie to your lawyer. If there's anything that's dirty about your side of the case, make sure your attorney knows it up front. I promise you, it's probably not the worst we've ever heard. Now, there always is going to be a worst, but yours is probably not the worst. Make sure we know all the dirty laundry, because if we know it, we can deal with it. If we don't know it, it comes up in trial, it could be a disaster for your case. Don't lie to your lawyer. Don't hide assets. Kids, don't do drugs. You may think it's just pot. It's just something I bought at the gas station. It's not that big of a deal. Some of our courts in Alabama are extremely strict. And even if you buy something legally at the gas station that's going to make you test positive for THC, there are many judges that, since marijuana is illegal in Alabama, that could be a death knell to your case, because even if you buy it legally, if it makes you test dirty for THC, our judges consider it to be illegal. Don't do drugs. Don't lie. Don't hide assets. And then a fourth thing is, don't post about your case on social media. There's so much satisfaction that people think they get out of getting their pound of flesh, and they go just tear their soon-to-be ex apart on social media. So many times that reveals more about you than it does the other person. There's no reason to be nasty when you're going through a divorce. Let your lawyer be the bad guy if we have to be. You always take the high road. Make sure that you give us all the evidence that we need to present to the court, so that you are able to go in with clean hands to the court, and you go look like the good guy. You don't look like the one who's been out in the trenches just fighting. Let our firm fight for you. We know how to do it. We do it hundreds of times a year in courtrooms all over Alabama. We know how to build your case. Make sure everything you think could be used, you get to your attorney. It's our job to show to the court what we believe is relevant and admissible evidence. It's not your job to decide if it's relevant or admissible. Anything you think could be related to your case, make sure your attorney has it. Because when we have that information, then we can build the most solid and most helpful case for you to get the results you're looking for in the end. So you probably have heard of other mistakes people make. You may have made other mistakes, but those are a few that I hope you will avoid, and make sure you call the right attorney. You need to have an attorney that's experienced not just in divorce cases, but in what may be complicated divorce cases, what you may think may be unusual divorce cases. There's all kinds of scenarios where your family is very unique. We don't have any two families we represent who are the same. Every family is different, and that's okay, because we're a little different too. And we love working with families wherever you are to help you avoid those mistakes. And I promise you, it'll make your lawyer's job a lot easier if you're honest with us and you don't post about the case on social media. Another common mistake we see in divorce cases is when people refuse to answer discovery. Now, you may not be familiar with that terminology. In 95% of divorce cases, we're going to go through a process called discovery, where the other side will send questions you have to answer. Sometimes it's statements you admit or deny. A lot of times it's documents you have to produce. And you think, you know what? They don't deserve to know this. You don't get to decide that. Honestly, even your lawyer doesn't get to always decide that. The court may ultimately decide that. We're going to go through a process called discovery with you, and we'll send the questions to you. Now, don't be scared. We're going to send questions to the other side too. They're going to have to do as much work as you're going to have to do. But it's very important that we work through the discovery process with you to give what we're going to be required to give. You may think they don't deserve to know it. Well, we're going to work with you to decide exactly what we give to the other side. If we have reasons to object, we will. But cooperate on discovery, because a lot of people will absolutely refuse to give things to the other side. And then the other side has to file a motion with the court to make you give it. And then you may still refuse, and then they file a motion for sanctions or punishment against you for that. When we could avoid all those things, if you will let your lawyer be the one to do the objecting, you provide everything to your attorney. A lot of people also get confused or make a mistake in not really understanding what the billing structure of their case is like. We are one of the very few firms that offers all of our cases strictly on a flat fee basis, that when you hire us in that initial consultation, we will tell you exactly what your legal fee is going to be for that matter. If you have other cases that come up down the road, there may be other fees for those separate cases. But for your case, we operate on a flat fee basis, that you will know exactly what your case is going to cost. Whether it takes 6 months or 3 years, it's going to be that flat fee. And we always do what we tell you we're going to do, including our billing. And so it's very important to know that with us, you don't pay a retainer up front that is going to quickly get drained down and you have to replenish it. And all of a sudden, you thought you were spending $5,000. Now you've got $15,000 invested in your case. I don't feel like it's fair to clients, but you need to make sure that you understand the billing structure that your attorney is going to use for your case. People also mess up in a divorce case when they feel like they have to make a decision at a mediation and have to settle their case that day. Now, when we go to a mediation in a divorce case or a custody case or any other kind of case, a judge has usually sent you to mediation to make you make a good faith effort to settle the case. But here's the great news. There's no judge in the state who has the power to make you compromise. Now, if you can't compromise, it goes to the judge and they get to make a decision about your case. But do not feel pressured or backed into a corner in your mediation or in your settlement conference like you have to reach a decision. Now, your lawyer may really press you because they have tried so many cases, they know what's in your best interest, and they're really encouraging you to make a decision. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we work for you. And as long as you don't ask us to do anything that's illegal or unethical, in the end of the day, even if it's against our advice, we can help you do what you want to do, okay? And so don't feel pressured or backed into a corner like you must reach an agreement that you don't feel like is in your best interest, because we know that you know better than anyone what's best for you. So we want to work with you to get a resolution to your case if possible. If we can't, we're happy to try the case. One of the reasons I try as many cases as anybody around is because I love being in the courtroom. I love traveling all over Alabama to be in the room fighting for your rights. But I also know that not every case turns out like a client wants it to. So we may advise you, you really need to reach this settlement. But at the end of the day, if you decide not to, we're going to go in and fight hard for you. That's what you've hired us for. And we're happy to fight for your interests.